Hello. Today I want to talk about depression. Today was one of those days where I just didn't want to do anything, especially make one of these videos. I'm on a pretty good streak right now. I've been making a video every day for I think over 2 weeks now, which is pretty great. But today I literally just sat around watching YouTube, didn't do anything else. It's one of those days where if I brush my teeth, it feels like a successful day, you know? And anyone who's really struggled with depression knows what those days are like. So I just want to talk a little bit about my thoughts on depression and why I think it's such a big deal. In our society today, depression is a bit of an epidemic. You know, a lot of people are struggling with depression. I don't have the facts or figures on me right now, but there's an absurd amount of antidepressants being prescribed to people. And the explanation that we're given for why this is the case is that there is a biochemical imbalance in your brain. Now, I have a lot of problems with this theory. First of all, the science isn't that great. There's a lot of people who challenge that concept and challenge the science. So people riding their bikes. That's a true antidepressant right there. Get out there and ride your bike. There's a lot of people who challenge this science, and there's a lot of good reasons to doubt it, that somehow depression is as simple as a serotonin imbalance in your brain. But beyond that, let's just assume this is true. Let's just assume that every single person who's depressed has a shortage of serotonin in their brain. What does that mean? Why do you have a shortage of serotonin in your brain? Why? Right? Are you telling me this is all just genetic? What is the evolutionary explanation for so many people having genetic causes for depression? I mean, just think about it. In nature, anyone who's depressed would starve. They wouldn't be very successful, right? This is not a trait that's going to get passed down in the gene pool when evolutionary factors are determining reproduction, okay? It's just not going to happen. It's the idea that there's this massive percentage of the population who has a genetic explanation for their low serotonin, and that's why everyone's depressed. I'm sorry, this is absurd. This is absolutely absurd, okay? My opinion, why people are depressed, is because we live in a profoundly sick world. I don't know who says that quote, but there's some quote that gets passed around the internet that goes something along the lines of, it's not healthy to be well-adjusted to profoundly sick society, or something like that. And this is so true. We are so far from our natural life way, you know, like we aren't eating real food. There's so much crap that we're dealing with on the planet right now. I mean, we're just in deep shit right now. We really are. We're in some deep shit. And we like to tell ourselves that we're somehow the height of achievement as humans on this planet because we have iPhones and YouTube. I'm sorry, but this is bullshit. When you have epidemics of depression, when you have epidemics of chronic pain and anxiety and numerous health problems, this is not the height of human potential, okay? It's not. And we're dealing with so much shit. We got poison in our water. We got poison in our food. We got poison in the air. We have bulldozed over all the forests. We're living in cookie-cutter cardboard houses full of toxic chemicals that are off-gassing and leaching into our bodies, right? We are undernourished because the food that we're eating is grown in soil that's depleted in minerals and nutrients because large-scale agriculture has just turned to chemistry, to chemical fertilizers, instead of having true, rich, healthy soil. You know, we have no real communities anymore. The communal structure collapsed decades ago. Right? The family structure collapsed decades ago. Some of us are blessed enough to have that. I'm very lucky to have a supportive, loving family, and it's really helped me a lot. But there's no community. I have no community. My parents are the community-oriented people in my neighborhood. You know what that means? That means once a year they have a barbecue and invite the neighbors over. No one else does that, right? None of the other neighbors do that. because everyone in the community that I live in, everyone in the neighborhood that I live in, they work 40 plus hours a week at jobs they don't like, sitting in cubicles that dehumanize them. And they spend an hour, hour and a half in traffic each direction getting to and from those cubicles. So they get home from the jobs they don't like, and they spend their time stuck in these cardboard boxes that they spent their entire life getting, right? They just sell all of their future potential in the form of debt to get these houses that are full of toxic chemicals that are off-gassing carpet, mold, all this nonsense. To get these yards where the forest used to be because someone just came in and bulldozed down the trees. And then they just spend all their time staring at these fucking screens, these computer screens, like I do. I do this. I'm a total addict. I'm super depressed, and I just sit there looking at YouTube all day long. I sit there on Netflix. I sit there on Facebook, just trying to find some meaning and connection in my life, desperately looking for dopamine or something. You know what I mean? It's insane what we're doing. It's insane what we're doing. We're not really living. We're not really humans anymore. And I dream of a world where I could just go live on the land, but the land is sick and dying. It can't even support us anymore. And the skills that it took to live on the land have been forgotten. I don't have those skills. My parents don't have those skills. No one taught those to me. I'm in my 30s and I'm gonna have to go out of my way, to figure out how to heal from the trauma and the poison and the destruction that's happened to my body as a result of domestication. And I'm gonna have to go back and try to figure out how to live on the land again. And I'm gonna do it because there's no other option. There's no other option but to turn this thing around. We have this cult of innovation in our society where we just think more inventions, more technology, this is gonna solve our problems. I was watching advertisements for VR machines the other day, and I was like, is this really where we're going? We're already just broken as human beings, addicted to these stupid little phones. We can't even talk to each other anymore when our necks are getting all screwed up, our backs are getting all screwed up because we're just hunched over looking at computers and smartphones all day. And we're gonna take this a next step forward, and we're gonna put goggles on, and we're gonna pretend like we're in another space, right? We're gonna go hang out in this virtual reality, where meanwhile our bodies are just decaying and falling apart. Right now you just see people everywhere you go, and pretty soon they're just gonna have goggles on and drool coming out of their mouth. What happened to humanity? What happened to humanity? Where did we go wrong? More technology is not gonna solve this problem. We need to get back to being human. We need to get back to the land. We need to get back to figuring out how to provide ourselves with the basic nourishments that create life. Like in every way, chemically, the food that we eat. No, we're not getting nourished. Biomechanically, in the movement that is required for us to be healthy. No, not getting that. Fresh air, clean air. Most of us have totally dysfunctional breathing, very shallow breathing. And we're very lucky if we get to live in a place with clean air. Some of us do, but many people are stuck in cities and they're breathing toxic air in their dysfunctional lungs. Right? Most people are dehydrated, and the water that we have access to is full of chlorine and fluoride. And if you want to get something better, you have to spend absurd amounts of money on a filter, or you have to buy bottled water, which just means it's full of plastic. Right? You can buy that fancy, overpriced Fiji water that may have started from a great spring, but guess what? It's full of plastic now because it's been sitting in a bottle for God knows how long. Right? And if you're lucky enough to have access to a true pristine spring or well where you can get real, natural, healthy water, wow, that's a blessing. That's a blessing. Take advantage of that, embrace that. But most people don't have that. The number of people, in surveys where people say, are asked this question of how many meaningful, deep connections do you have in your life? How many people in your life that you could call on in a time of need where you're really struggling? That number has been declining rapidly for years, right? We don't have the social nourishment that we have. We don't even know how to talk to each other anymore. We don't even have the social skills anymore. Forget going back and figuring out how to live on the land. We can't even live together. We don't even know how to do that anymore. And people are going to tell me that the reason we're depressed, the reason we're depressed is because there's not enough serotonin. Here, take this pill. Fuck that. Fuck that. That's not why you're depressed. That's not why I'm depressed. We're depressed because we're not human anymore. And we don't even know how to be human anymore. So that's what being in the body is all about to me. It's me trying to figure out how to be human again and bringing as many people with me as I possibly can, because this can't go on. This can't go on. We can't keep doing this. You know? We need to figure out how to live. And I don't know how we forgot. I don't know what happened. You know, we can debate about that all we want, but it doesn't really matter how we got to where we are. You know, we're here now. And what are we going to do about it? Are we going to continue down this path of more isolation, of more dependency and addiction to technology, of less ability to live on the land, of not being nourished physically, emotionally, or spiritually, or mentally, right? Are we going to continue to be prisoners and slaves to our jobs and our houses and our stuff and our car payments? Is that how we're going to continue to live? Or are we going to start turning this thing around? Are we going to start making changes? Right? This isn't even necessarily about me. Like, the changes I'm making in my life aren't even about me. Like, I'm desperately trying to find a means of existence that feels good to me in this crazy situation that we're in. But it's beyond that, right? This clearly can't go on for many more generations. I mean, how many more generations can this go on before the whole thing collapses? How many? It's how many before the ecosystem collapses? How many before this crazy economy collapses? How many generations before our physiology breaks down so much that we can't even live? We can't even stay alive. Everyone's just so sick. Everyone's so sick. In this country, people are the sickest in the industrialized world. You know, what are we going to do about that? Right? I mean, what's the real threat to humanity right now? What's the real threat to the world right now? I think it's this. I think it all comes back to this. That we don't even know how to be human anymore. We don't even know who we are. Right? We look on TV and we watch fake actors and fake actresses, you know, pretend to be human, and we think that's what it's supposed to look like. Right? It's like, oh, I need a six-pack. I need to get my teeth whitened. Then I'll feel good about myself. No, you won't. None of that stuff that you're told on television or on the computer that's going to make you happy is going to make you happy. Because none of it's what being human is about. It's time to remember who we are. It's time to remember how to be human. Okay, this video turned into a rant. But this is the sort of thing that brings me down, man. This is the sort of thing that I'm just passionate about, you know? Like, I don't know what else to do in my life other than commit it to this, to turning this thing around and helping people become human again. Learning how to be human myself and sharing that process with other people. I don't know what else to do. That's it. That's all I can come up with, you know? Because this isn't working. This isn't working. I know a lot of people out there spend 8 hours a day hunched over a computer screen, 8 hours a day standing behind a cash register. This is insane. This is insane. We got to break free, guys. We got to break free. We got to figure something out. And your way of breaking free from the prison that you're in is going to be unique to you. I'm still figuring it out. Like, I'm no expert here. I don't know what to tell you about how to break free of the prison that you're in. I'm still trying to break free of mine. And a lot of that prison comes down to my own emotions and my own mindset, right? There's this trap that we get in when we're depressed because of this situation, the very unhuman the dehumanizing reality that we were all born into that's causing this depression. I don't know exactly how to get out of it, but I know it starts with somehow creating a positive narrative, creating a positive attitude and perspective, and saying, I can get out of it. I can get out of it. We can turn this thing around and change it. And that's really hard some days. It's really hard to do that some days. But this is where it starts. This is where it starts. You know, figuring out how to nourish ourselves so that just enough so that we can stand up tall and look the world in the eye and say, I can do better than this. We can do better than this. So that's where I'm at. Today was one of those days where I wasn't able to do that. I wasn't able to stand up and look at the world. I wasn't able to stand up under the weight of it all. Once again, this video has helped me. I feel much stronger now than when I started it. And I hope this video helped you. Thanks for watching.